Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Scope. And now, here are your hosts, Jared, Adam, and Shane.
Is that my cue?
That's the cue. You're on. You're on.
It's like I've never done this show before. Hey, everybody. 172 of The Scope. It's something we've termed a podcast. We've termed it is it a vidcast or a video cast, Jared?
Whatever. I don't think anyone's ever agreed on the term. Some say vodcast.
Vodcast?
Yeah.
It's like vaudeville.
I don't like it.
See?
Some say netcast. Some say just say video podcast.
Netcast. Didn't Netscape have a feature called Netcast for a while?
Maybe.
Netcast on Netscape Communicator.
I think that's the Twit network. They tend to call them the netcasts.
I see.
Because they didn't like podcasts because it was too Apple-centric, but I think everyone else has just latched onto that.
Yeah, it is what it is, right?
Exactly.
All right. Well, we are back after a very lengthy 171. We really brought our A game there. At least I did.
You did.
According to Adam, I was a 7 out of 10. I was 5 out of 10 in my own reading. But guess what, guys? We've got a lot more talking for this episode. We are bringing back, I am approached on the street all the time. They say, Shane, why are you stalking me, number one? And then they say,
yeah, we
love the Nerd Roundtable.
And we only do it like once every cycle now.
Yeah. you really should be every episode, but we'll be okay if you do it once every 3
We're
episodes.
talking nerd stuff. We're talking the hot stories of the moment.
We are.
Are you this tan, or is it did you really get that much?
I'm doing
from
my
Mexico?
John Boehner imitation right now. I am fairly tan.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thank you.
I mean, that trip you went on was weeks ago.
Yeah, I didn't even try to get tan, but yet my face burnt up like I was steak on a grill.
Well,
I
the
don't know.
Mexican sun
Steak on a
way
grill.
Steak on a grill is what I was.
What sort of dry rub do you use on your skin? Nothing? No, marinade, maybe?
Paprika based.
Oh, paprika. Interesting.
All right. I've had enough of this nonsense. So let's take a mini break. It'll probably have something to do with the Fump, and then we'll be back with more Scope and the Nerd Roundtable. Hit it.
Attention fans of funny music. The first ever comedy music convention is here with performances by Carrie Dolby, Devo Spice, Garden Fresh, The Great Luke Ski, Tony Goldmark, Matt Griffo, Dan Hart, Insane Ian, Phil Johnson, Possible Oscar, Power Salad, Raymond and Scum, Sea Monkey, Tom Smith, and Worm Quartet. And presenting this year's special guest of honor, legendary radio personality Dr. Demento. FunkFest is taking place June 20th through 22nd at the Westin North Shore in Wheeling, Illinois, just outside Chicago. Tickets for the weekend are just $35 until March 31st. Join us for live concerts, panels, Dr. Demento's Festival of Dementia, Demented Karaoke, a Q&A with Meatmorph Studios, and the 4th annual Logan Whitehurst Memorial Awards for Excellence in Comedy Music, hosted by Dr. Demento.
Hi, this is Dr. Demento. Come join me and my friends from the Fump at FumpFest this June in Chicagoland.
Visit FumpFest.com to register for the event and reserve your hotel now. That's FumpFest.com.
Hey, everybody. The Scope is back with your Nerd Roundtable.
Oh, we've given it to them now? To the audience?
We give it to the people.
We're just going to let the people control what we talk about?
We're the
I
People's
won't
Podcast.
stand for it!
People's Podcast.
We are the People's Podcast. You said it, Adam.
I didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on me.
What's Red Fox doing in the studio?
Go ahead.
So
We're working on being more racist than last.
Yeah, we're trying our
last week's
hardest.
episode.
Why is it racist that I just said a line from a movie?
Adam calls everything racist,
Oh,
and then when he
yeah.
does his stuff, it's perfectly acceptable. I don't understand it.
I got it.
Hey,
He said ching chong ding dong or whatever, and that was fine. So the Nerd Roundtable is that time in the show when we collect important, salient news topics of the day that are nerd related, and then we discuss them. I don't know if they're all nerdy related, but they might be. Nerd topic number 1, Jared.
Oh, we're getting there already?
Bum, bum,
Yes.
bum.
Let me pot this down and stop it. Go ahead.
When you're on a Mexican vacation and your wife tells you to get very close to take video of her and your daughter swimming in salt water,
Uh-oh.
do you listen to what she says or do you stand back?
I'm guessing you probably don't listen to her. Understanding, unless you have a waterproof proof housing on your phone.
Well, I did. I
what?
second guessed myself, and I got water all over my phone,
Oh.
and it screwed my phone up for like 3 days.
Seriously.
I was scared.
I saw messages about this on Twitter and Facebook.
I was very, very sad. And by the way, salt water is about the worst thing you can get in your iPhone.
Apparently
Adam.
not. It's fine.
Well, it did fine. Here's the other thing. It's very damp in Mexico, so it takes a longer time to dry up.
Sure.
But when I got this salt water in there, I was really angry, and I just need to go up to the room. And so then I had this tiny little Conair hairdryer.
Bad move. You should not have done that.
Well,
That just forces the water deeper into your device.
that's probably the problem. And I was shaking on it and blowing on it and sucking on it, and
Yeah, it was like a Nintendo cartridge.
it was. I did the Nintendo cartridge.
So the normal remedy when your phone gets wet is to put it in a bag of rice.
I'm not finding bags of rice.
But you're not. Yeah, when you're
And
on
it-
vacation, it's really hard to find a bag of rice.
And here's the other thing:
you could have gone to the Mega and gotten some rice.
if they have salt water,
Yes.
salt is bad.
Oh,
so
yeah.
even drying it out with rice isn't necessarily a surefire success.
How did you
there.
solve this problem?
I just let it sit essentially.
God.
Okay.
So this is what happened. I barely got any water on it, but I mean, seriously, like 2 drops apparently is enough to screw it up. So initially, it didn't do anything bad, but then like 15 minutes later, you'd get the warning on your phone that says, this device does not work with this. If like you're using like an off-brand cable when there was nothing plugged into it.
Uh-oh.
So that's bad news, number one. And so I'm like, this isn't good. And then when you would plug a cable into it, it still wouldn't work. So I let it dry a little bit, and that kind of sort of went away. But then what would happen is the home button would just automatically trigger. So you'd be sitting there, and then Siri would turn on, and it'd go, bing, bing.
Uh-oh.
We're like, wait a second.
I've noticed that I'm wet.
Yeah. Like
Salt water
Yeah.
is very conductive. I am completing a circuit.
please talk to please ask me questions about these things. And I'm like, this isn't good. Like I can't have my phone on if it's going to keep turning on. So I thought I would get smart. And so I went in, and they have like accessibility features in, which is a great thing that Apple does that a lot of other companies don't
Cripples
do.
can't. Yeah.
Yeah. So what you can do is you can turn off your home button and have it so you have a home button that's on the screen itself.
Sure.
And so I did that thinking, I've got this saltwater outsmarted. See, I've got it really outsmarted.
I've got
See?
a sentient saltwater problem.
So I did that, but then there's another thing that kept getting triggered. Like there was just the voice activation thing that would get triggered that isn't the same as Siri, but it's similar. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
So I had to turn that off. So then I let
So
it.
you immediately turned everything on. It was super accessible through various means.
Like it wanted Siri really wanted to come out and play.
Yeah.
So then I had to wait another day, and then eventually it started slowly kind of getting back to normal. So what I noticed is that when I plugged the cord in initially, the charging cord, it actually got like saltwater residue on the little copper connections. So I had to scrub that with like my toothbrush, salt water.
Wow.
And I cleaned those up. And then by the time we left, it was working normal. But I was this close. Seriously, you probably saw me tweet, Jared. I'm like, as soon as I get off the plane, I'm driving to Best Buy. I mean, that's how upset I was about it.
Yeah.
And even Carrie was like, "Ugh, I don't know if I want to be around this jerk." And it's like I can't blame. I'm not blaming my wife for me getting salt in it, but I just should have not have. My best judgment was stay far away from the water because you don't want to get involved with this stuff. And I'm like, maybe it'll be okay. And I go up on these cliffs, and as soon as I go on the cliff, this giant wave comes, and I'm like, and I go like this, and I shield it. And worst of worst, probably one of those Wisconsin nacho eaters. I hear them go, ha ha, in the background. They can see that this guy with his iPhone without a case just got drenched.
Oh boy.
F you, Cozumel. Topic 2.
So
It seems to be working
We're
fine
working fine now?
Seems to
Okay.
be working fine.
Okay.
Titanfall, South Park, Adam. Are they games of the year? Go.
I mean, so far, South Park is the best game
You love it.
I've played this
Yeah,
year.
you were going to bring it for me today, by the way.
Oh, that was up to you. I specifically said, hey, make sure you remind me a couple days before.
I don't want it because I'm playing Titanfall right now.
All right.
But if you don't trade it in the next time we do a show, bring it. But
Okay.
how long did it take you to play through? Quickly.
A week and a half, and that was probably 18 hours.
I
I'd
don't
say.
like role-playing games that much. Am I going to like this game?
Do you like South Park?
Yeah, I do like South
You'll
Park.
like this game.
Okay.
That's all that matters.
Titanfall. You've got it on PC.
No.
You didn't even ever got it.
No.
Oh, I was going to have a
I've
conversation with you.
got Diablo 3, Reaper of Souls, which fixed everything that was wrong with the original Diablo 3. Best DLC I've ever played.
You love it.
Or expansion, whatever you want to call it now.
Is that Game of the Year?
No. I mean, I don't think you're allowed to call an expansion a Game of the Year.
Titanfall, I've been playing it on Xbox One.
Yeah.
It takes Call of Duty. It adds dimensions.
Robots?
Robots. It adds dimensions to it.
Yep.
It's definitely a game that, I'll be honest with you, it feels like it's one portion of a future game that will have a lot more to it.
I hear the storyline that they try to weave into this doesn't really work.
It does. I mean, it's a multiplayer game is really what it's good for.
Do you play the single player of Call of Duty games?
I do. I always play all the way through, and this is nothing like that. It's,
I know. Yeah.
The single player on Titanfall is actually not single player. It's multiplayer with voiceover stuff, kind of explaining what you're doing, but it's still the
Everything's
same stuff.
multiplayer.
Yes, but
Same maps. You're just...
in terms of what this game could be for the future of shooters, it's got a lot of possibility. I would recommend it.
Yep.
Get an Xbox One and play it. I don't know what the 360 version is going to be other than it's supposed to be the same functionality, locked in lower frame rate at 30 frames per second.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll have to see what it looks like.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'll get an Xbox One at some point. I'm still leaning more towards getting a PS4. We'll see. I'll wait till the summer.
Yep.
at the very
See how
least.
it goes. Okay. Topic number 2.
No, this is 3.
3.
There you go. See? 3.
This is a little not as timely, but I wanted to bring it up because Jared and I haven't talked about it. We'll see how Adam responds.
The Muppets.
Recently, there was a G.I. Joe cartoon-flavored episode of Community.
Oh, yeah.
How great was it, and was it too inside baseball? Meaning, if you didn't watch G.I. Joe the cartoon, did it make any sense to you at all, Jared?
Yeah. If you're not familiar with G.I. Joe toys and cartoons, I don't know how much you got out of that episode. I think it was really inside baseball, but because of that, I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was so
Adam.
great.
I liked it a lot. I kind of feel like the crossover, the Venn diagram of G.I. Joe watchers and Community viewers is almost identical,
you
right?
think so?
I
So
don't,
they knew their audience and could get away with it.
I hope so.
A friend of mine who, when I posted, because I immediately tweeted something like, Community's awesome already. It was 5 minutes into the show. He responded a little bit later, I love this episode. My wife hated it and did not understand 1 second of it.
Mandy fell asleep.
Yeah.
Like immediately.
But I mean, the fact that okay, let's pick some nits here, Jared.
Picking nits.
The animation.
I don't have a sound for that.
The animation really looked closer to
As close as
something
I
like TV Funhouse than it did G.I. Joe cartoon.
I don't think that they were. Do you think they were really going to try to recreate the animation of the cartoon?
I think that they wanted to be as faithful to what the cartoon looked like as they possibly could.
Red lasers, blue lasers.
But I mean, they went to the ends where they got the original voices for Duke. They got the original voices for Flint. They would have got the original voice for Cobra Commander if he was not dead.
Do you think they had to get licensed? Like
they absolutely worked with Hasbro to do that. They had to. I mean, if Hasbro would have been stupid not to. I mean, it was everything they used from the music was. Like the original G.I. Joe cartoon theme.
Mm-hmm.
They did a terrific play on the whole nobody ever dies except Duke kind of almost died. But, I mean, they went even to the fact when Cobra Commander disintegrated at the very end, when his armor came off, he was a snake man like he was in G.I. Joe the movie.
Yep.
They dropped the ball a little bit with their weapons, Jared. They didn't use the generic G.I. Joe weapons. No. They had a weird sort of like missile weapon. I don't know what that was all about. But
I think they had to make it work within the storyline they were doing, which is where G.I. Jeff kills people. And they were everyone is shocked that this is happening.
Yeah. I thought it was terrifically funny. It was super clever.
Yep.
I hope they do something like that again, if you want to know the truth. So we agreed. We all liked it.
Even the jokes that weren't about G.I. Joe, but they were about animation, saving frames of animation
and they redo
for
the
budgets
stuff,
and stuff. Yeah.
Like names Buzzkill and Three Kids and Fourth Wall and I don't remember.
Tight Ship.
Tight Ship was sexy. If they don't make action
Wingman.
figures, if they don't make action figures of those, I would be very surprised. Like there has to be some Kickstarter campaign for this that Hasbro could do. Just
maybe.
Because And then the public service announcements at the end, and just everything was on point on this. It was very well.
I liked the commercials.
Yeah.
For the boys.
How they sort of changed based on. Yeah, they did a nice job. Topic number 4. I want to talk about, and Adam, I think
I got to economize on that one.
you'll have an opinion on this, maybe more than Jared, but
Wow.
something bothers me.
I feel excluded now.
Something bothers me about Jimmy Fallon and his show.
Okay. Is it because he goes by Jimmy and not James?
No.
All right.
So, and he's been doing
Ever
this.
youthful.
He's been doing this for years, and Carrie and I have actually got in fights about this. And I don't know if it's just
You
me.
guys get in fights about dumb shit.
I know.
Okay.
Arguments.
Thank you
not
for
fights.
keeping. I like it when we swear. It's more fun. Go ahead.
All right. So Jimmy has a habit of when he does like his viral video stuff, he tends to make himself the center of attention on almost everything that he does. He interjects himself. So like if they have a singing number, Jimmy's got to be there singing. If they've got a bit, Jimmy's got to be front and center, and everybody else seems to be almost secondary, even if it's a big-time superstar. Am I overreaching on this, or is this something that you guys feel the same way?
It's his show.
But it bothers me that it
I think that's on you.
just seems like it's too much Jimmy and not enough
Fallon.
somebody else. It's
So you're okay.
especially when he does singing numbers.
So the Mariah Carey one from last year, that was real.
yeah, like he sits
popular.
there and it's like he's mouthing the words practically. Like he has to be front and center. Why can't it just be Mariah Carey with
Okay, I mean,
the roots?
I would like to just argue with this, but I don't really care enough
Yeah, okay.
to do so. So I don't know why
Okay.
you thought I would have a strong opinion.
Just because I figured you watch more of these viral videos than Jared does.
No, I've probably seen the big ones that are big. The big ones that are big. The ones that make Reddit's front page, I probably see.
Okay.
Is there... I don't know, like, I feel like Jimmy Fallon is... Okay, I guess maybe not, right? Because, or Kimmel. So Kimmel in the ones where he's pranking everyone else.
Sure.
He's not in those, obviously. Or with the ones where he has parents eat their kids' candy and then record those. So I guess it's fine, but it doesn't seem unprecedented for the person who's...
I don't mind that Jimmy or Fallon or Kimmel, they do bits where they are in the bits.
Yeah.
It bothers me when he's in bits with famous people where he has to elevate his status to that of the famous person that's in it or above that person. It just, to me, it just rings of ego. When I honestly don't think Jimmy Fallon is a big ego guy. I think that he's genuinely respectful of the people that are on his shows. It just, when I see those bits, it just seems like, why do you have to be the star of this when you have somebody else that's agreed to be
I
in
feel
it?
kind of the same way when we go back to episode 171 of The Scope.
Okay.
When it
Turn
was
his
pretty
mic off.
much Shane
Just
the whole time
Mexico.
about his
Or 170
elaborate vacation.
Or 170 when it was Adam reading news the
Well, it
whole
was
time.
supposed to be, except some
Wow.
people kept on interjecting their own commentary in it.
Yeah,
Jared,
well,
you're the smart guy in the group.
I don't know. I feel like
Am I wrong?
I don't know if you're wrong. I mean, it's all personal taste, obviously, but it's not like he's ever misrepresented what the bits were
Sure.
supposed to be.
Sure.
And it's sort of, he's consistent at least in the style of what he's trying to
Sure.
do. So, judge it however you want. If you like it, then you like it. If you don't,
Yeah.
you don't. But I don't know that you can necessarily say that it's not the right thing to do.
Okay.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
How many late night television programs do you record?
None.
Okay.
I don't.
I don't understand why you get so.
I watch them from time to time. I just, when I see it, maybe because I see it in such a compacted.
You sort of see it separated
yeah.
from the context of the
context
show. You just see
perhaps,
the viral bit.
I'm curious what some of our listeners, especially Lipsky and John Norton, if these guys are tapped into the late night, they might have opinions on this.
Lipsky. It never gets old.
It doesn't get old.
Thank you, Google Translate.
Thank you.
Or Google.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or thank you, Lipsky's bad enunciation of his own name.
Get a better phone.
That's right. Okay, so let's go
Stop
on.
throwing it in the ocean.
Let's go on to topic number 5, our last topic of the day. And
What?
we
Already?
already.
Wow, we're moving along.
I
Go
told
ahead.
you. I know this is way old now. This is something we probably should have talked about 3 weeks
We
ago.
have times for reflection.
But let's reflect on the ending of How I Met Your Mother. The show just ended, 9 seasons. They had a accelerated season schedule this year with I think 16 episodes or so. So the show ended essentially with Ted meeting the mother, and then the mother dying in 45 seconds, and then Ted getting together with Robin much later, probably 6 or so years after the mother died, which is
she's got a lot of
Ted's got to be in
STDs
his
by now.
50s or 60s by the time they meet.
Yeah, well, the kids are the teenagers,
yeah.
so yeah.
So
do the math.
So Jared,
and to correct you, there were 24 episodes. It was not a shorter season.
I thought it was a shorter
24
season. So
episodes.
they just cranked them out really fast this
Yep.
year.
No breaks.
Adam, have you watched How I Met Your Mother from beginning to end? Did you? So you are all 9-season guy. Jared's all 9-season guy.
I may have missed a couple in the first
but
season.
you didn't stop and come back to it. So a lot of critics and people that watch the show feel like How I Met Your Mother is an extremely uneven show. It had maybe 3 or 4 really good seasons. Probably went on 2 seasons too long. No, not probably. It definitely went on 2 seasons too long.
Yeah. Although the ratings would argue that they should have gone on as long as it needed to.
It kept going. The ratings kept going up. A lot of it had to do with the fact that it was so successful in syndication.
Sure.
That drove the viewings of the regular show as well, which is kind of amazing. I mean, good for them, I guess.
And speaking these days when shows just don't syndicate
Yeah.
very well anymore.
So I'll throw it to you, Jared.
Okay.
You've had time to reflect on the
I have.
ending. What do you think of it?
I think the net result, it was a huge disservice to the fans. I don't necessarily disagree with the outcome. I think it sort of makes a logical sense. And from a creative standpoint, it makes sense to bookend the series with him meeting Robin, but not immediately being her being disqualified as the mother. We're going to, and there's debate whether or not that was intended or if that was just a stunt in order to get the pilot picked up.
Sure.
And then bookending it on the other end where he ends up with her finally. So I don't necessarily just disagree with him ending up with Robin. It makes a certain logical sense in the paths that Ted and Robin were going on, and that they needed to kind of have their own separate journeys to get to this point later in life where they could actually be compatible and be together. It's the fact that we went through this sham of a 9th season to get to that point. This where we spent the entire season at Robin and Barney's wedding, and they immediately dismantle that 20 minutes into the finale.
Yeah.
So you're just like, oh my God, what did I just waste all this time on? And then they did a really great job of us of setting up Tracy, the mother character, and getting us to like her in such a short time, only to kill her off. So yeah, I don't feel like they presented it in a path that we could really get behind to get to that intended result. They talk about how they had it planned all along, that this was how it was going to be.
They filmed the footage of the kids' conversation in season 2.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
I got to think that there may have been alternate takes. There has to be. Or you just say, you know what? The show isn't going exactly where we thought it would go. Let's adjust a little bit. Let's adjust the path and do something that seems to be true to the characters where they stand right now, especially with the casting of the mother. What's her name? I can't even think of her name.
Christina Maloney or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Something-
Who ends
something
up being
Irish.
so likable and
Yeah.
so perfect as the mother
Mm-hmm.
that to kill her off in 45 seconds in a very Travis Shamockery of a way
right.
did not feel true and did not feel respectful to the character.
Especially when you consider that the entire run of this whole show, Ted has been the least likable character
Sure.
by miles, and it makes it even worse.
Yes.
At the end, Mandy and I, whenever we would watch this show and Ted would do something stupid, it was never like oh Ted, you buffoon. It was worst character. I like everyone on this show that's not Ted. The episodes that didn't focus on him, it was like a breath of fresh air.
It's every once in a while they would get Ted right. You'd sort of capture some of that Ted.
Magic?
I don't want to say magic.
The World of Warcraft episode, best one.
Because that's a little bit overreaching. Ted's always been a bit aggravating on the show. But if they can dial that back where you sort of feel for his plight of finding someone or trying to find someone, okay, it works. But they messed him up, and then they messed Robin up. They made her sort of the shrill,
this is the problem.
mean, and why would she be with Barney as he was at that point? Barney hadn't made enough of a change, but they made all this effort to try to humanize Barney, only to go back on that in a matter of 20 seconds in the finale, where he turned him into a jerk off again, and then they try to bring it back to make him nice again, which it felt like a scam.
They spent a lot of time over the last couple seasons detailing how Ted and Robin could never end up together.
Yeah, they did that over and over
Yeah.
again. These are the reasons why they cannot be together.
Right, and so to stick them together at the end just feels like a smack in the face, even though if you tell the story differently, it makes a nice creative arc. But yeah, the fact that they basically made them, toxic to each other. And then, I think there's a lot of things in the finale that if they played out kind of over the course of a season, they would have been a lot better. The whole arc with Barney and Robin divorcing could have been handled a lot better.
Again.
You could have spent more time with Barney's reaction to that and how he sort of reverted back to his old ways instead of it being like 5 minutes of screen time in a finale where it doesn't. You're just like, oh god, here he is, old Barney again, and then it changes with the birth of this kid.
Yes.
If that plays out over maybe a couple episodes to encompass that, it feels a little more genuine and a little you earn it a little bit more.
Or I think that if the final season had been I Met Your Mother in episode 1 of the final season, and this is how we spent we only had 6 years together.
I agree.
Here's how, and then it makes it actually, there's weight for everything.
If you take the chunk of time explored in the finale and stretch that out over the course of a 24 episode season.
Because I
could have
agree.
been so much more rewarding.
She instantly became the most likable character.
Yeah.
I mean, they spent.
I mean, she
all
was
of this
new and
season-
fresh too, which helps. But
But like they made Marshall unlikable during part of the season.
Marshall was in a car the whole time.
Well, half
in
the
this
season,
I mean,
yes.
it's ridiculous.
the other flaws in the finale, and this is chalked up to them not having enough time to devote to it, is you sort of reduce Lily down to a baby factory.
Yeah.
I mean, she doesn't have much to do other than be the bearer of another child for Marshall, who's now a judge.
She didn't
We get
even
an arc
say you
with
son
him.
of a bitch.
Yeah, she doesn't. I mean, she's just there to be sort of the emotional core of the group and to spit out children, which is hugely reductive, and I didn't enjoy that at all.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, you said it perfectly. The show should have, the last season, and Carter Bays and Thomas talked about how they wanted to do something completely different for season 9. So their idea was, let's put it all in a weekend.
Big mistake.
What you do is you say, we're going to do something completely different, and we are going to show a time period of 20 years in a season.
That's a better choice.
Just as creative. It's different. You can give emotional depth and resonance to these characters without, breaking down key moments in their lives to a minute or less. And then you get something where you can earn Ted and Robin being together, even though I think that they gave you the old head fake and the end of the first episode in the first season when they said, this is, and Robin's not your mother, essentially.
This is how I met your Aunt Robin.
Yeah, I
think was the line.
come on, guys. So
find a way around that.
and then this is what you do. You don't have it in there, that you don't have that line in the first.
And
episode.
the story is that they did that because they wanted to, show that they could do a head fake or whatever to CBS to get the pilot picked up. So, and but they wrote themselves into a corner with that one. So, I'm not sure if I want to deride or applaud them for sticking to their guns and sticking to their plan, because there's a lot of shows that clearly didn't have an end game in mind and were made up along the way, and sort of you get to the ending of the show through the course of creating the show, so you have time to think about it, and things that can work. You come to a logical conclusion based on where the characters are towards the end versus what you had in mind at the beginning. There's other shows that claim that they had the end game in mind all along, and they just had to fill in the beats in the middle. So,
well, Lost as an example, it comes up a lot. They say they know the show started with Jack's Eye's opening, and we were gonna end the show with Jack's Eye's closing. So we knew he was going to die at the end.
Sure,
but there's a lot of stuff in between there, for better or for worse, that was not dictated, and it was not known, and they didn't, even like Ben Linus being there, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
He was never a character that was meant to make it to the end or be a part of that. So,
but they liked the actor, so they kept him around. Or Mr. Echo, who didn't want to do it anymore, so they had, there's things you have to deal with. And I'm sure that the producers of How I Met Your Mother, they didn't know the show was going to go 9 years. So
that was the other issue.
If they had an arc that was going to go, they thought maybe 4 or 5 seasons, if we're lucky, we can play this out.
It was a bubble show for the first how many years, and they say that it didn't pick up steam until Britney Spears was on there as a guest. That was the person that pushed that show into weird.
So
it's bizarre to me, and those were not even great episodes.
No. So I'm not quite sure if I want to applaud them for sticking to their guns, going, nope, this is how we plan to end it, and we're going to do that, or if I should say that was bad. You should have reacted to how the characters were and what your audience was wanting. I don't know. Yeah, well, it could probably a little of both.
If you wanted it that way, if that was always their plan, then you have to earn it. And they didn't earn it. They did poor structure. They did poor writing, and really having the opportunity to have a breakthrough, interesting 9th season, they did the complete opposite thing of that and totally screwed it up.
Yeah.
And they eventually reduced almost all their characters to caricatures of who they were before. Like funhouse mirror versions of the cast. And at the end of the day, let everybody down. I think it was a letdown. I think they could have ended it with Robin and Ted together. They just didn't earn it. That's what I said to Jared. They didn't earn it, and they don't get my respect.
And
for
I think they were probably riding. I think they did
Burn the Masters.
Marshall's dad dying. They did that well
Sure.
enough, especially for a sitcom.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
And so I bet that they were like, we can do a dramatic thing where
Well,
the mom dies.
they've done dramatic things throughout the show. It's never been straight comedy.
Right.
But the thing is, with Marshall's dad dying, that was something that they revisited
Right.
through a multiple story arc. They revisit it later where they just talk about it. Whereas with the mother dying, they give one slight little hint 3 episodes before the show's over, and then they kill her in 45 seconds.
Right.
Yeah. And that's a problem. It's a problem of time compression and not giving us time to really bond with the character more and to really feel the weight of her dying.
Like,
When
imagine
she died and it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Like,
but
now she was a placeholder until Ted could get to the real woman in his life who didn't want to be with Ted because he didn't want to have kids, but now his kids are grown up, so guess what?
Right,
You
yeah,
know,
now it's
we don't
fine.
have to deal with that sort of issue.
Exactly.
And Robin's done all the things in her life that she's wanted to do. And it's just
it's too much to cover
I didn't like it.
in a
Yeah.
44 minutes of a finale.
yeah, and that's a problem with a lot of finales. Let's be honest, where they try to push way too much stuff into it to
Right.
try to get to a resolution. But they had a season to do it. They knew what they were coming into. They
Yeah.
knew what they were going to be, and they chose poorly, to quote Indiana Jones.
So it was
They
the wrong
chose
cut.
poorly.
I mean, for all right. I'm sure that going into it, they were like, "This is perfect. This is going to be,
Yeah.
if not maybe or maybe not. Maybe they were like, fucking CBS making us do a whole nother season.
Yeah.
We wanted to end it, whatever. It didn't work out. To me, it doesn't slight the rest. So Dexter ended this television season, and it slighted the entire rest of the show for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel that way about this, and maybe because it's a sitcom, it's lighter. There's less gravity for it anyway, so it's fine. But that's why I'm less upset about it, I think. I mean, Arrested Development's last season was not great, especially in the last 4 episodes that they just shoved off into, one night on Fox. They weren't
Yeah.
they were not the same as
They
the
were
rest of
losing
it.
its steam
Yeah.
in that 3rd season.
So
Sure.
I've seen this before, and it doesn't impact me as much. And like you started off by saying, this show has never been super consistent after season 3. I think it's been very up and down. It's been consistent in that it's made me laugh
Sometimes.
but like I have not been like, I can't wait to watch How I Met Your Mother this week forever. Probably it's just been there.
Yeah.
So it's I'm okay with it moving on. I think if they had taken my fan fiction into account, it would have been an excellent 9th season, but they didn't. Again,
is that fan fiction where you and Barney hook up?
yes, it's
Gotcha.
Barney banging every character, including Rajesh, multiple times.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
it's hot.
How's the lighting in that, dude?
As good as Shane's lighting right now.
Very nice.
I sort of
Jared, final word.
I sort of agree with Adam. It doesn't necessarily poison the entire run for me. I mean, there's definitely some great stuff early on. I wish we could have had season 9 back and done a different way. That's my main issue. They did some episodes near the end that sort of, tug at your heartstrings a little bit and sort of answer some questions and I think those were well done. But the overall arc, especially the first half of season 9, were such a waste of time. And I think that sort of
They had a great egg cooking episode. Best
Yeah.
egg.
great.
Yeah, we could have spent that with the mom being sick. That whole episode. There you go. Then you could have put that to bed in a nice way and set Ted up for something else.
So I think season 9 definitely, even season 8 to some extent, and the finale for sure, definitely do tarnish the legacy of the show in my eyes, no doubt about it. But let's be honest though, it's not a show that I'm going to go back and watch
No.
again. It's not a show that I need to own or I'm ever going to tune into. I don't surf for channels, so I'm not going to see it in syndication. I just, it's
does
over,
well.
it's done. It was a part of my life for a while,
and now it's gone.
yeah, now it's gone, and I'm not I was ready for it to be done, so I didn't get too upset over the ending. Other than, they could have done it. I just see the potential, and I'm disappointed that they didn't fully realize it.
I look into the camera, How I Met Your Mother. We were ready for you to be done. That's our takeaway. And that's the Nerd Roundtable.
Indeed.
Let's wrap it up.
Intense, guys.
I'm not going to play the music. I don't like playing the music at the end anymore. Not
Okay.
doing it. Not doing it.
Well,
It's
then,
too hard to edit.
How about
around.
this?
Yeah.
Let's take a quick break.
Yeah.
And we'll be back with Coming Soon.
Hi everyone, my name is Luke Ski. I am a comedy musician and a member of the FUMP, that is the Funny Music Project, an online service for fans of comedy music. In 2010, the FUMP created the Logan Whitehurst Memorial Awards for Excellence in Comedy Music. That's to celebrate the best funny songs of the year and to pay tribute to Logan Whitehurst. Logan was a prolific, amazingly talented, hilarious comedy musician who passed away in 2006 at age 29. Legendary radio personality Dr. Demento called Logan's album Goodbye My 4-Track the Sgt. Pepper's of comedy albums. The award celebrates funny songs in 3 categories: Outstanding Original Comedy Song, Outstanding Parody Song, and Outstanding Comedy Music Video. And the winners are presented with a statuette of a robot cat inspired by one of Logan's songs. It's called Robot Cat, appropriately enough.
4 legs, rubber bands, sprockets and gears, laser beam eyes and microphone ears. Put it all together, what did I see? Saw a robot cat looking right at me. So when I say roll, you say bye. Roll, roll. When I say bye, you say cat. Bye, bye. Word to the R, to the O, to the B, to the O-T-C, to the A, to the D. So when I say robot, you say cat. Robot, robot.
Dr. Demento himself is a permanent juror, and in the past we've given awards to OK Go, Neil Patrick Harris, Todrick Hall, Garfunkel and Oates, among others. For the first 2 years of the award, Rob Balder, the award's creator, paid for the production of the statuettes himself. Last year, since I was the chair of the award, I paid for them myself. The statues cost $400 each to produce, meaning that each year we need to spend $1,200 on them to keep the awards going. Since there is a different chair each year, it's not practical to expect the chair to continue paying for the production of the statues, but they have to be paid for somehow. That's where this Kickstarter comes in. We're looking to raise $1,200 to pay for this year's statues. Any money we make above and beyond the $1,200 will go towards future years of the award. Every $1,200 we raise is another year that we can produce the award show. So help us out and you can get some cool rewards, such as an album of live comedy music performed at my private Kickstarter event last year, LukeSkiCon 2013, a video presentation of highlights of live comedy music performances from the first 3 Logan Awards ceremonies, an official Logan Awards t-shirt, and on the higher end of the donations list, there's an appearance on the FUMP's weekly chat show, the Funny Music Podcast, a comedy song created for you by one of the artists of the FUMP, and house concerts performed by one or more of the artists of the FUMP. See the main page entry of this Kickstarter for details and a list of participating acts. This year's ceremony will be taking place at FUMP Fest on June 21st in Wheeling, Illinois, and will be hosted by Dr. Demento himself. If you'd like to join us for the live ceremony, information can be found at fumpfest.com. The overall point is, we all love comedy music. Whether you grew up listening to it on the Dr. Demento show or listening to Weird Al albums, or if you've discovered it recently via acts like Flight of the Conchords, Lonely Island, or the hundreds of sites producing comedy songs and videos online, we love it all, and we want to celebrate it all with the Logan Awards. So if you have the funds and you'd like to get some of our prizes, please make a donation, and please tell your friends that love comedy music online all about this Kickstarter campaign. Thanks for watching.
There's more of the scope dead ahead.
Under the scope.
This is that time of the show where we tell you what's coming soon. Adam,
We've got
your
some,
list isn't great, I don't think.
What?
I don't think you have got a great list.
It's a pretty rough April.
It's a rough April.
Yeah.
That's why Easter is all about the death and resurrection of the entertainment industry.
Boom.
April 22nd, we've got music from the Eels.
Thomas Troops, one of his favorites.
Hot
They'd be very excited.
Victory.
Hot Victory.
Hot Victory.
Is that the name of the album?
That's the name of the album
Okay.
and the
and
band.
the band.
Oh, I didn't know it was an eponymous album.
Keyless.
Kellis.
The Killers. The
Killers.
Killers have a new album. Excellent. And the classical.
That's how you pronounce Kesha.
You're adding classical on here. Sebastian Bach has a new album.
Wow, he's back. Johann.
Johann.
Back from the grave.
They found a hidden recording.
On some recordings from
On
the
tape. They found it
1700s.
on tape.
It's amazing.
JSB. Give him hell.
JSB.
Movies. We've got The Other Woman. I thought that was The Other Women. Is it not women? That's the Cameron Diaz.
Yeah.
I would say other women. I just mistyped. Doesn't matter. We're not seeing this piece of crap.
That Kate Upton's in it though.
I don't like Kate Upton.
She's got just giant cans. We've got The Quiet Ones. Is that a horror movie?
I think it's a horror movie.
It sounds like a horror movie. And Walk of Shame.
It seems like every week there's another low budget horror movie coming
Right.
out.
Hey,
They
you know,
sell.
It
I know.
doesn't
I know.
cost a lot to make.
I know.
Bring
I think
some
if I
cash.
were in the movie business, I would probably do the same, but it's just weird.
Yeah. DVD and Blu-ray. We've got Betty Page Reveals All.
documentary.
boy.
A documentary.
Oh my.
Murder, She Wrote. Season
I know
7.
there's
Finally.
one Betty Page fan out there who might
I think
really
they saw
enjoy
it. I think she saw it already.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. I don't get the fascination with Betty Page, but that's just me.
Me either.
Okay.
Boobs.
We're not
back
old,
when
I guess.
boobs didn't exist.
They didn't exist.
I mean, come on. You see ladies from back then, they basically didn't have boobs.
yeah,
No,
I guess.
said
And
it.
they were all pointy. It was weird.
Yeah, fucking those pointy boobs. I am, you know
How
what?
is that fashionable?
I say every day, not every day, but I say pretty frequently, there is no better time to be alive than today. And when talking about boobs, that is even more so the case.
So you're talking about how they're presented in the wild.
Just anything.
Yeah.
Anything.
And they've even mastered the surgically enhanced boobs now.
Yeah, exactly. Boobs.
All right.
And Newhart, season 3. And video games, Shane, you had a DLC for Batman Arkham Origins on here, but I
Yeah.
decided to scrap that because we don't do DLC. And
That's the only thing that really comes out.
Dark
so.
Souls 2 for the PC comes out also.
And we're also seeing a DLC from Batman Arkham Origins called Cold Cold Heart.
Well, you also only listed it for the 360, but it's actually coming out for everything.
It's you know how hard it is to find proper video games?
I have said multiple times, hey, do you want me to do these lists? No.
Now, if you want to do them.
Oh, no, Shane, you gotta feel important. I get
No,
it. You're editorializing.
It's a bit of a
coming
power play
soon.
going on here.
I just want Adam
Shane,
to
there's one thing left
not
to
feel-
talk about.
Do we
Not-
need to come in as a mediator?
Yes.
I mean, are we having?
I don't want to overwork
Are
Adam.
we
that's
having
the
marriage
problem.
troubles? Do we need a counselor?
Where's our intervention banner?
Adam, I'm going to say it right now, and then we're going to go on to the one last thing. If you want to take over coming soon, it's yours. Do you want it?
Well, no, I don't want to really.
Is this
do
a
work.
transfer? Are we witnessing a transfer of power?
I will give it to you. It's up to you.
Okay, we'll talk about this offline.
No, we'll talk about it now. Go ahead.
In front of the people. The people want to know.
It's the People's Podcast, and I say people will figure it out after the show.
All right.
Okay, one last thing,
One
Jared.
last thing for you, Shane.
And what is it?
Finally. Hit of the week. Hit it or miss it. Miss of the week. Look out!
I did it live just for you.
We'll do it live. So this is the time of the show when we select something coming up in the next week that we're really excited about or we really hate. Hence the name Hit It or Miss It. It's my selection. That's Shane talking right now. I'm picking a musical release.
Ooh. Is it a hit or a miss?
It's a hit.
Okay.
And it's from a band I've been hearing a little bit on Sirius Satellite, their alternative stations. It's
Which station?
XM, I don't know the channel, but there's XMU,
Jake Fogelnest
and then
is
there's
on
just
it?
the modern whatever,
Okay.
alternative, alt nation.
Coffee
that's what
House?
it is. Not Coffee House. It's a band. It's a Brooklyn band because
Margaritaville?
the only new bands that they ever play on Sirius are New York based bands, which sort of drives me crazy. It's like, oh, boy, another New York based band.
Oh, imagine you're in New York and
Yeah.
you hear New York bands. Imagine that.
Go figure. And the band is called Modern Rivals, and their album is called Cemetery Dares. They are synth-based, I would say, a little poppy. I'm not super excited about it, but
I can tell.
you know what? You gotta pick something. And since we don't do DLC on this on Coming Soon, I can't select that. That was made very clear to me by the guy that doesn't do Coming Soon compilations. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a big moron.
I think we overwhelmingly favor the hits in the hit or
Yeah.
misses segment.
'Cause you don't
And
wanna
we
sound like a douchebag.
We need to make a better effort to tear some people down. That's what
Okay.
I'm saying.
I think the
I'm gonna
problem.
tear Adam down.
I know that you've reached a certain level where you're releasing your creative project into the wild to a mass audience. You probably have a large studio backing it, but we're here to take you down a peg. I think we need to do that.
I'm waiting to
More
do,
misses.
I'm waiting to do a miss when Possible Oscar releases their new album.
Ooh, wow.
It's got personal. I think the problem
Just kidding. JK, Jared, as they say in
Wow.
the
the
business.
problem
JK.
is that we don't know, like, Murder, She Wrote. Like, I mean, that would be a
there's
weird.
some, I mean, we could have easily taken down
seems-
Tyler Perry's latest release last week, but
then Adam
but
would be
that's
more
that's
racist
that's a
than he
pot
normally
shot.
is.
That's easy, and there are people who really like that. So just because it's a thing, all I'm saying is I want some more Venom on the show.
Okay, he wants Venom. Is this a G.I. Joe reference?
Yes, sure.
I dropped my pen.
Jared, you better capture that bit right there.
Under the scope.
I dropped my pen. I want that as a drop.
Oh God! All right, hold on, making a note.
Write down when it happened, and then go back and then cut that back into the show later.
Dropped my pen.
What time is it? Put it on the time.
It's about 41 minutes. So
Good.
41 minutes. There we go. It's on my list. All right.
Never touch your pets again.
Jared,
Yeah.
it's time to talk about comments from our
It is
listeners.
time, and we finally have a comment on from episode 169. I don't
Better
remember what
not.
our topic was that show, but
Better not be from Lipsky.
Lipsky called in. He called in. He has some comments. I believe he talks about the Muppet movie, and he talks about some other stuff.
Shocker.
Here we go.
Hey guys, it's Lipsky. First of all, Hans Olo.
Hans Olo.
Is Mongolian for masturbation. Secondly, Jason Segel and the new Muppets movie. So Jason Segel, from the time he started talking to the time the movie was released, was about a decade's worth of time. So the reason Jason Segel isn't involved with the sequel is because he spent 10 years, trying to make the first one exist, and he just wanted to move on to other things. However, his writing partner, who co-wrote the Muppets and directed the Muppets 2 years ago, his name I think is Nick something, and also Fred from Flight of the Conchords movie, Muppets Most Wanted. So I'm excited for it, as you would expect. And so there you go. That's what's up with that. I am anxiously awaiting to see it, and I'll hurl opinions at you if you want me to after it comes out. Anyway, thanks a lot, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.
Do we want opinions of it, Gerard?
Well, I think he's seen it for the third time at least now, so
he must hate it.
he must have.
He'd have seen it 6 times by now.
It was supposed to be as good as the roughly.
I don't know what the reviews were. Do
I
you know?
never even saw the reviews for it, if you want to know.
So
I mean,
let's
I
pull
saw
it.
the first one in the theater.
I forgot that it came out.
Yeah.
This new one.
We're gonna go to Rotten Tomatoes. We're gonna
I'm
take a
just
look.
not as huge of a Muppets guy. I mean, I appreciate their historical significance, especially in my life when I was younger, but they don't resonate with me quite as much, and Audrey never really got into it.
I think
so.
the first
79% on Rotten
That's
Tomatoes.
pretty good.
Certified
That's pretty
fresh. Fresh.
I think the first cartoon porn I once accidentally downloaded
Yeah.
off the internet or just saw a picture of was like Kermit and Miss Piggy.
Ugh.
It was not
Just like
good.
a line art. Somebody drew that up.
That's
Yeah.
a scarring moment.
It was not good. Then I saw a dude with a pen inside his pee hole right after that. So it was
Was
bad.
that drawn or was that real?
No, that was real. That was a bad night.
If you want to talk about your first cartoon porn that you ever saw, you can email us at comments@thescopeshow.com or call the voicemail line 612-21-SCOPE. That's 612-217-2673. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, and you might even be watching us here on YouTube.
What about Snapchat?
Snapchat? We're not on Snapchat. I don't think there's any official commercial presences on Snapchat.
What about chat roulette?
Wrong with that.
Are we
Chat
on
roulette.
chat roulette?
We're
all taken. That's the problem.
That doesn't matter, Shane. Chat roulette is the Wild West. Does anyone even do chat roulette anymore? Is that still
There's
a thing?
another one that people do, right? Where you rate pictures of people and then
Hot or not?
and then
Bangable.com.
if they like you, then they'll get in touch with you. Based
Find us
your-
on. You can find us on Grindr.
Grindr and Tinder.
We're on Uber. You can rent our car. And also, the basement is available to sleep in. Just look us up on Airbnb.
What about AOL? Are we on AOL? Yeah.
Keyword
We
the
are.
scope.
Yes. We have an AOL chat room. It's run by a bot, though. We're not actually in there. We just have a bot that just will chat with you. If you're
You know
still
what
on
that
AOL.
bot is?
Yeah.
That's our Robo Adam. Remember? He's there.
He's there.
He's on IRC
chatting people
also.
up. So if you're still trying to burn
I haven't
off
seen
those,
him in a while.
you're still trying to burn off those 500 free minutes from that AOL desk that you got back in 1996.
I don't have a CD-ROM drive.
Is
in
it
my
weird
car.
that
How do I use that?
Is it weird that AOL sent me a cassette tape that I had to run off?
You can pop that into your cassette drive attached to your TI computer.
It was very weird.
Amazing. Anyway, all those links are at thescopeshow.com. And if you enjoy us talking about weird stuff, improvisational style, and you want to support our show financially,
We're huge into improv.
well,
Okay.
this whole show is practically improv.
Adam, you're stuck in a box.
Okay, at least it's extemporaneous. How about, is that a better choice?
I don't know what that means.
All right. If you'd like to support us financially, you can look us up on Patreon. It's patreon.com/thescopeshow.
Yes.
You can support us for as little as $1 an episode. You can also put a monthly cap on that so that we don't go hog wild and take all your money.
Yep.
And you can cancel anytime.
Keep in mind, we are the show that the Nerdist rips off regularly.
So yeah, head over there and help us out. It keeps the show running, helps pay our bandwidth, pays for these fancy new cameras we're trying out today. So there. That's all I got, Jade back here.
All right, Adam, Gerard, a.k.a. Jared.
Mm-hmm.
You know that when I worked with Jared at Toys R Us, he was a French guy?
Oui, monsieur.
It's a long story.
You were role-playing for
We'll
your whole life? I mean, for your whole employment there?
I'm pretty much a LARP all the time type of guy.
He's a big LARP all the time.
I'm always
guy.
LARPing.
I gotta write that
You
down.
never know who you're gonna
It's your
get.
take on improv everywhere or improv anywhere.
You
It's
might have-
LARP everywhere.
You might have heard a nickname that I don't really enjoy, but sometimes it's thrown around, Puddin' Joe. That was one of my famous LARPs.
You were the one that admitted you like pudding.
I did, but it was
That's all I'm saying.
it was my character Joe who really enjoyed pudding.
See, Stephen Colbert got in trouble for the exact same
Me
thing
personally,
just weeks
I'm
ago.
not a huge pudding fan. More of a Jello guy.
What is more inside baseball, the Community episode of G.I. Joe or Puddin' Joe?
For the listeners of this show, it may be.
It might be the same, actually.
Yeah.
All right, wrap it up. So, Jared, Adam, Shane, we're out. We'll see you in a few weeks with another edition of The Scope. Thanks for listening and watching. Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, we find ourselves once again at the end. I hope you've enjoyed our time together. I know I have. Fear not, Scope faithful. Days shall pass as if they were but a moment, and Jared, Adam, and Shane will return with another thrilling episode. Until then, send your comments to comments@thescopeshow.com or leave a voicemail message by dialing
612-21-SCOPE. That's 612-217-2673.
Thanks for listening, faithful fans. This is Tony Partington saying, Buenas noches. Tune in next time to another terrific edition of The Scope.